and fellow Iowans. Today, I want to begin with a few personal observations. The first is the honor I feel to stand before you today as the first new leader of the Senate Democratic Caucus in 20 years. Few people have the honor of leading this caucus. Senator Horn is one who has had that honor. And I want to extend my thanks to my Democratic colleagues for entrusting me with the leadership of our caucus, and I hope my service will meet with your approval. Today is also my grandfather's 119th birthday. Mason Ladd was born this day 119 years ago in Sheldon, Iowa, January 9th, 1898. He was the son of a lawyer farmer who served as a justice on the Iowa Supreme Court from 1897 to 1920. And my grandfather, like his father, was also a public servant, serving the people of Iowa as a professor and the longtime dean of the University of Iowa Law School from 1929 to 1966, and as one of the architects of the Federal Rules of Evidence. Before my grandfather passed away in 1980, when I was 13 years old, he also did other important things along with my grandmother and other members of my family. They taught me to root for the Iowa Hawkeyes, go Hawks. He taught me how to dig fence post holes. And my grandmother and my grandfather also taught me how to clean, store, and install the screen windows and the storm windows each spring and fall on their house. And as always, I hope my service meets with their approval. I also want to note at the outset that this is the first time the Iowa Senate has convened since the passing last September of our friend and colleague Dr. Joe Sang, who sat right over there with Senator Lycum is now. Joe was one of a kind. He was truly a unique person. He was an accomplished musician. He was a leading veterinarian who I believe had at one time or another taken care of virtually every animal in Scott County. And he was a committed public servant on the City Council, in the Iowa House, and the Iowa Senate. And so I would ask you this morning to join with me in a moment of silence, if you would, to remember and honor our former colleague, Dr. Joe Sang. Thank you. Now, colleagues, let's talk about the Iowa Senate and the Iowa Legislature and the opportunities we have at the start of this new session. My remarks are especially directed to Senator Bolton and the other new senators who are joining the legislature for the first time this year, because you need to know that this institution has the capacity to govern wisely This institution also has the capacity to really goof things up. But thank you, Mr. President. Shelgren, did you have something to do with that? All right. Let me pick up where I left off. You need to know that this institution has the capacity to govern wisely and to take action to make life better for people on the bread and butter issues that Iowans face every day. This legislature, with bipartisan support, has helped create jobs and broaden economic prosperity across our state. For example, we supported the expansion of Iowa's renewable energy industries, including wind, solar, biogas, ethanol, advanced ethanol, biodiesel. In 2012, we created a solar energy tax credit that led, through the end of 2015, to over 1,800 solar energy projects, over $100 million invested, and more than 700 jobs in a solar energy industry that basically didn't exist before that tax credit. And 2016 was an even bigger year, and with our continued help, that industry can keep on growing. Renewable energy is a winner for jobs, businesses, farmers, our health, and our environment, and it didn't happen by accident. The legislature, with bipartisan support, has helped Iowans with educational opportunities from early childhood to college and job training, such as the STEM initiative we started in 2008 and has been carried on, and our community college programs like PACE Career Pathways, GAP Tuition Assistance, the KIBI Skilled Workforce Shortage Tuition Grant, and other programs supported by the Iowa Skilled Worker and Job Creation Fund that helps Iowans improve their job skills and find better paying jobs that are available in our economy. We did that. This legislature did that. The legislature, with bipartisan support, has supported the Community Attraction and Tourism Program and other economic and development efforts that have helped communities across our state invest in themselves. One of my favorite projects is the American Gothic House Center in Eldon in Wapello County. It's projects like that help create jobs, improve the quality of life, retain Iowans in our state, and help attract visitors to our state. And it didn't happen by accident. The legislature, with bipartisan support, helped Iowans prepare for disasters to safeguard our people and our property, with programs like the Iowa Flood Mitigation Program that has helped communities across our state: Council Bluffs, Storm Lake, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Coralville, Burlington, Dubuque, Waverly. In Waverly in September, in the flooding that we had, Waverly, those investments paid off. Waverly avoided the type of damage that other communities suffered because we had worked with Waverly to act. But other communities need more help, like Plainfield, Shell Rock, Clarksville, Greene, which all suffered much damage. That's a problem we can solve, and it's a problem we can address. Here are more examples. With bipartisan support, this legislature used the opportunity provided by federal law to create the Iowa Health and Wellness Plan that today provides access to health insurance for over 150,000 Iowans. The legislature, with bipartisan support, raised the tobacco tax in 2007 and provided for smoke-free workplaces in 2008 to improve public health. The legislature, with bipartisan support, has taken significant action to improve public health and safety with recent efforts to prevent underage drinking and combat human trafficking. I share these with you because what I want you to know is that when this legislature identifies real problems and works together to solve them, we can make real positive changes for the good of our people of our state. For me, I remember vividly the moment in 2004, my first session down here. I'm a member of the minority party, and I wanted to do something to help improve traffic safety. So I worked with a Democrat, Vicki Lensing, and a Republican, Claude Baudler, to update Iowa's child safety seat law to help keep our children safe. And I will always remember asking Representative Baudler if he would help me co-sponsor a bill to strengthen Iowa's child safety seat laws. And Representative Baudler looked at me and said, "Strengthen? No. Update? Yes." And that's how we expanded the bipartisan support we needed to update Iowa's child safety seat law. We can do those things. We can help Iowans get better wages, better jobs with higher wages and better benefits. We can provide educational opportunities that prepare our students for work and citizenship. We can help people access health care and improve public health. We can help create real public safety to safeguard our people and our property. So what are the real problems that this body can address this year? As we begin this session, I pledge that Senate Democrats will focus on real solutions to real problems. We will work with every Iowan, regardless of party, to move our state forward. So, let's start with the tragic increase in deadly Iowa traffic accidents. Over 400 people died on Iowa's roads in 2016, reversing many years of progress. That was a 20% increase from 2015. Fortunately, this Senate has a solution ready to go. 2 years ago, we voted 44-6 to ban texting while driving, to make it a primary offense, so that our law enforcement officers can stop people when they put all of us at risk by texting while driving. Public safety is government's first responsibility, so let's act to stop the carnage on our roads, and let's act on other issues, child abuse, mental illness, substance abuse, that threaten the lives and health of our people. Here's another real problem: stagnant wages paid to Iowa workers. Profits have gone up for many businesses, but the wages that Iowans earn have not kept up. And this is a problem with many causes. It's not just an Iowa-specific problem, but the Iowa legislature can help. Our minimum wage is too low. It is lower than the states around us. It is so low that full-time Iowa workers can actually qualify for public assistance. So let's do what our Democratic neighbors in Minnesota and Illinois have done, and what our Republican neighbors have done in South Dakota, Nebraska, and Missouri, and let's increase the minimum wage as part of an economic development strategy to help improve our economy. And let's do it without voting to lower the wages of any Iowa worker. The problem of stagnant wages is directly related to another problem: the loss of population in many parts of our state. We have over 70 counties that have lost population, not because of the farm crisis of the 1980s, just since 2010. We need higher wages. Our businesses need skilled workers and more customers. We need to retain Iowans and attract people to our state. We need to invest in our communities. We need to invest in our main streets. We need to support our local schools with adequate school funding. Every community needs a high-quality public school. When a community loses a school, it simply cannot attract the new families and the new businesses it needs. Education is the foundation of our state, our economy, and our future. So let's make sure schools across our state, in rural Iowa and urban Iowa and all of Iowa, get the support they need to provide world-class education for every young Iowan. Another real problem we can no longer ignore: impaired waters. This doesn't mean that every stream, every river, and every lake in Iowa is a health hazard, but we do have over 700 impaired waterways in our state. We are the second leading contributor to the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. We do have communities that struggle to provide safe drinking water for our citizens. Senate Democrats have led the way for additional funding for water quality efforts in recent years, including an infusion of $20 million in 2013 that Secretary Northey called a game changer for the nutrient reduction strategy. This year, we're ready to work with you to bolster monitoring, to bring together all sectors: industry, cities, landowners, septic tank owners, so that we can make near-term tangible progress toward our longer-term clean water goals. Here's another real problem: too many of our neighbors don't have the security of a pension or retirement plan. The good news is that our state treasurer, Mike Fitzgerald, has a real solution to get private employers who don't provide a pension or retirement plan to make a contribution. And for Iowa workers who are looking for a safe, secure place to put those savings, Treasurer Fitzgerald has another good idea. He wants hardworking Iowans to have access to professional, tax-free retirement savings. His Iowa Retirement Savings Plan is modeled after the very successful Iowa College Savings Plan that he already manages. Just like the College Savings Plan, no state funds are involved. It's a real solution to help hardworking Iowans achieve retirement security. And we must also address the health care security of all Iowans. Our health care safety net, Medicaid, which works for all of us. We are all just an accident or a disability away from needing Medicaid. That system is under duress. A year ago, the Iowa Senate recognized that Medicaid privatization, as proposed by the Branstad-Reynolds administration, was a potential disaster that should be stopped before it started. We had no idea then how right we were. We were concerned at the time that it would fail to meet the needs of Iowa's families and undermine Iowa's local health care providers. And unfortunately, that is what has happened. But now we know it's even worse, because the new system run by out-of-state insurance companies is also in danger of financial failure. The Medicaid mess is a real problem and needs a solution. These problems: tragic traffic deaths, other threats to public safety, stagnant wages, loss of population in more than 70 counties, loss of schools, impaired waters, lack of retirement security, the Medicaid mess. These are all real problems affecting the lives of real Iowans every day, and in the legislature this year, we can help solve those problems if we work together and focus on practical solutions. What we cannot do is ignore these real problems that affect Iowans every day, we can't ignore them in favor of fake problems, like the fake problem of collective bargaining. It is working well in Iowa and has been since it was adopted by a Republican legislature and a Republican governor in the early 1970s. It's not a problem. Health benefits for city sanitation workers, or DHS social workers, or firefighters, or police officers, or correctional officers. That's not the problem in today's economy. We need more health security for everyone. We all benefit when labor and management can work together on fair wages and benefits. Here's another fake problem: Planned Parenthood funding. Planned Parenthood's eligibility to provide contraception services, cancer screening, and other preventative health measures through state Medicaid is not a problem. These health services prevent problems for low-income women and other patients. They are not a problem. Finally, there's the fake problem of fake people casting votes. It's simply not a problem in Iowa. It certainly wasn't a problem as the 50 of us got elected, was it? I don't think it was. People in Iowa simply aren't risking severe criminal penalties to cast an illegal vote. We don't need government barriers to voting in Iowa. We don't need to make it harder for the elderly to vote. We don't need to make it harder for people with disabilities to vote. We don't need to make it harder for young people and low-income Iowans to vote. We don't need to make it harder to vote for the person who happens to misplace his or her ID. Voting is a fundamental right. We need to help Iowans participate in the political process, not create government barriers to participation. We want more participation, not less. So today I ask you in this chamber, and I ask all Iowans listening to these proceedings or watching these proceedings over the internet to join together with a renewed sense of citizenship, to sit at our table of democracy, to participate, to speak up, and to serve by addressing the real problems facing real people in our state and our country today. Much has changed in Iowa since my grandfather was born in Sheldon 119 years ago today. But Iowans are still the responsible, practical, hardworking, community-minded people today that we were then. Let us show the world how we can work together, even under single-party control, to address the real problems our state faces, to make Iowa even better for our people and our future. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.